52 Network Marketing Tips is brought to you by Leaders Club. Get your own custom 90-day success plan, including one-on-one support from a personal success advisor, exclusively at leadersclub.com.
If you've ever had someone tell you that network marketing isn't a good opportunity because the market is saturated, you'll want to watch this video. Welcome to tip number 32. I'm Andre Vatke, and I've heard from literally thousands of marketers who were thrown by this apparently sophisticated objection. But let's be real here. Simply saying something is true doesn't make it so. And while I'm not one to prejudge prospects, most of the people I've found making the saturation argument are not experts in marketing by any means. Odds are that when you hear someone say this, they simply heard it from someone else. They're repeating it because they thought it sounded reasonable, not because they understand what saturation really means. Very often, people are misusing this term when it comes to network marketing. Saturation, in terms of marketing as a whole, simply means being everywhere, just as a sponge saturated with water can't hold any more. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. When you look at big advertisers like Procter & Gamble, the owners of over 100 brands of consumer products like Tide, Folgers, and Crest, they spend over $165 million a week practicing what's called saturation advertising. Their recent Old Spice ads were on TV, all over the internet, in magazines, even in movie theaters. They spent almost $9 billion to make sure you saw their ads way more than once. So saturation in this case is actually an objective, something good, because just like we discussed in tip 29, the more you're familiar with a brand, the more likely you are to reach for it when it comes time to buy. And yet, I bet you didn't buy all the products advertised by Procter & Gamble, even though you knew about them. So there's clearly more to making sales than just running ads. But when people say network marketing is saturated, they don't mean it as something positive. What they're really trying to say is that network marketing isn't new. Everyone's heard of it, or everyone's heard of a particular company, so there's really no point in approaching anyone. But that logic should also stop anyone from opening a new retail store, cleaning service, or even a restaurant, but it doesn't. Because there's so many companies and so many different products and services available to network marketing entrepreneurs, true saturation, I think, will never really be an issue. And when it comes down to people knowing about network marketing, our research actually shows that's a good thing. While we find that there's still a lot of misinformation regarding our industry, most marketers today spend a lot less time convincing people network marketing is a legitimate business than they did back in the 70s and 80s. So if people knowing about network marketing itself is a good thing, what's the issue with saturation? The only real issue with saturation comes down to competition in advertising space. And even there, it's not an issue until you try to mass advertise your way to success. We talked about why network marketing isn't about competition in quite a few tips so far. To get you started, watch tips 1, 26, and 30. They're going to give you some insight on how to deal with this. Knowing what saturation is, that it's not necessarily a bad thing, will help you be a better prospector and marketer. But what should you say to the person that uses saturation as a defense to keep you from going further? Well, first, don't argue with them. Even if you're 100% right, you'll lose because that's not why people join. Instead, ask them what they mean by the word saturated, or what is it about saturation that would make an opportunity, any business opportunity, less attractive. And remember that it may take some time for a prospect to come around. Until then, they're going to wait and see if you're really looking out for their interests, like a true consultant, or if you're just simply trying to sell them.